Hi folks, and welcome back to another Travels of Red Rover. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Corinne.
And where are we this week, Corinne?
We're in the Inyo National Forest in the eastern Sierra Nevadas.
We're up here for the weekend, and we're going to try to catch as much of the interesting, beautiful color as we can.
Yes, it's a little bit past peak here where we're staying today. We're going to try and capture a few photos tonight, maybe a few more tomorrow morning, and then we're going to try some new locations.
So we hope you enjoy the whole adventure. And remember, if you do, please give us a thumbs up. And subscribe to this channel. That would really help us a lot. I love flying the drone during the fall when the colors are very bright. I love being out into a big empty forest and then be able to follow an old country road, an old country gravel road down through the forest. The spot that you see there on the left is the van parked on the edge of the road in an empty parking lot.
Okay, good.
When we fly the drone, Corinne and I prefer to fly it when we're completely alone. Typically, I'm the pilot, and then Corinne is an extra pair of hands and helper to make sure that I don't lose sight of the drone, especially when I'm flying it in trees and things of that sort. Unfortunately, when we tried to land this drone, Corinne had picked up the video camera to film me bringing the drone back in, and this gentleman decided to drive right through our landing zone right as we were trying to land the drone. Fortunately, I was able to fly the drone away until we got this sorted. Fall is one of our favorite times to be out in the forest. Being able to take a little walk along the road and shoot the colorful images as you go is one of our very favorite things to do. We hope you enjoy just walking along with Corinne and taking some photographs.
Well, Shawn, I see you've got your camera in your hand, so no tripod here. You want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing with your settings and what your compositions are about?
Sure. So the camera's set up with polarizer, and I'm using the polarizer quite rigorously to make sure I'm getting and pulling as much color out of the leaves as I possibly can and eliminating as much of the waxy glare. These particular leaves are very, very waxy, and they have a lot of glare to them, so this really sort of takes that away. Now I'm doing a couple other things. I'm really concentrating on shots that include some of the really dead brown leaves in amongst the brightly colored fall color leaves, and I just like the transition between the really dark sort of crumbling up dying leaves with the still vibrant colors. I think that's quite a cool shot, and I've been working on that. I'm using some interesting camera settings. Because I'm shooting handheld, I've moved the ISO up to 400. So one of the things I've been doing is varying the f-stop from about 7 up to about 11. And I'm doing this in order to kind of figure out where a good spot in order to blur out either the foreground or the background is. I'm using this as a telephoto lens, and it goes up to 105 millimeters, so it allows me to actually pull back a little bit and use that telephoto to help me create a larger or smaller plane of focus. Now, the other thing I'm doing is also playing with the shutter speed. I'm shooting anywhere from about 1/60th of a second to about 1/125th of a second. Again, this is to help me either freeze the leaves or let the leaves kind of be a little bit blurry. And I'm just playing around with it at this point. I'm not leaving myself, I don't have terribly high expectations. This is active play and learning how the camera's reacting and those sorts of things. I've also done one other thing that is, I think, really interesting in these shots. There's a lot of orange-red color, according to Corinne, in these leaves. And my camera doesn't capture that very well. So I've actually added a little bit of red to the film in order to give me a little bit more or a little richer red-orange look in the photographs. Good morning, folks. Well, it's a beautiful but chilly day.
Yes, it's quite low temperatures overnight, below freezing, so we're happy to have a heated van to sleep in at night.
That really makes this experience much more enjoyable. It allows us to stay right out here in the forest and get started, first thing in the morning without a long drive. And it's something we love about the van.
We got a hill in the east and the sun has just come up over that hill. So we're going to go scout out some photography, see if there's any nice shots this morning, and then we'll probably move on to a new location.
And I think I'm going to go do a few drone shots. I've been enjoying using the drone as a camera as opposed to just a videography device, and the light should be just beautiful to shoot the tops of the trees.
Hello again.
Good morning.
We're here out on Lupdell Lake Road in the north portion of the eastern Sierras.
And we're at about 9,500 feet, so that's why we sound like we're panting. We just walked up a fairly steep hill.
We did some scouting yesterday, tried a few places, took a few handheld pictures, and then we came out to this Lupdell Lake Road, drove all the way up to the lake, which was now a puddle, and then we worked our way back down to a good camp spot close to some aspen groves.
So right now we're kind of on a small knoll, and the colored aspens are actually just behind the camera here. And in fact, I'm going to go up this rock here a little bit and shoot handheld down through the valley as the morning light sort of crosses into the valley.
Yeah, we had a bit of a late start this morning. We have a big hill to the east, so even after sunrise it took another good 45 minutes before the sun crested the hills and began to light up our aspen groves.
So it's time for us to get to work, and I'm sure we'll talk to you through about a couple of our photographs. So there's a couple little ledges right here on this big black rock. You can see my camera just perched there on one of the ledges. I'm going to be climbing up those ledges and standing on the upper ledge to shoot back over behind me. And when I get up there, I'll talk to you a little bit about the shot. So I'm up on my rock and I'm looking out over the valley here. And what I'm really doing is using the layering of the various aspen groves back up into the valley. Now the way it's lit right now, and I just took this photograph, the foreground is quite a bit brighter than the background. Now a problem we are having is that it's also quite a bit of smoke up here still, and we've got the sequoia fire off behind us here. And as a result, there's quite a bit of glare. And unfortunately, I can't get the polarizer to cut through it. It's just a lot of it. So I may have to do a little work in post to take that down a bit. Now, as you can also see, there's absolutely nothing in the sky of interest. So that's being almost completely excluded from the shot. In fact, actually, right now, it's quite a lovely shot just to shoot right down into the valley and maybe even exclude everything that's kind of above the pine ridge that's at the top of the hill on the other side. Again, we're pretty high, so the air is relatively, of the smoky parts, we're in a relatively less smoky area, but even here we're still experiencing a little bit of it. So I am shooting handheld, and that's because I'm standing on this cliff that there's no place to put a tripod. So consequently, I've got my ISO up a little bit. I worked this site last night as well, so I've already got a pretty good familiarity with the various versions of the composition. And so I'm around about ISO 640. It's pretty high. I might be able to lower that a little bit as the sun comes up. And today, unlike yesterday, the breeze really hasn't gotten going yet, so the aspen are relatively still. Yesterday evening when I was shooting this, and I'll show you some photos from that, as well, the aspens were moving a lot, and I really had to increase my shutter speed to sort of really isolate them and kind of make them look nice. This morning, not so much, and so it should be a lot easier to take the shot. And finally, one of the challenges I have is that the grove down in the valley where the little road is still pretty dark, and I'm going to let I don't think I need to have that light up a lot, but I'm going to let it light up a little bit more so that there's a bit more glow in the aspens down there. The foreground aspens are just absolutely beautiful, so I'm going to play around with those mostly to start off with, and then I'll get longer and longer into the valley as the light opens up down there. And I'm not alone up here. Corinne's found a spot up behind me, and she's just starting to get herself organized up there to take probably a fairly similar shot, although she's got some really nice aspens over here to my right to work with that may help hide a couple of the bare spots that I have to shoot around.
So I'm perched up a little bit higher than Shawn, a little bit more flat surface, and I've brought my tripod along so that I can set up my composition and tweak it slightly without worrying about camera shake and leveling and things like that. You can see Shawn back behind me over my right shoulder, and I think that we're getting some nice light. It's a little bit diffuse because of the smoke from the fires, so we don't get the intense shadows. We're still getting enough light that some of the leaves are being nicely highlighted. What I like about this view from up here is that we've got this fairly close in aspen grove. We're looking over the tops of the trees. Then we have little slightly further out aspen grove, and then a third grove that's back there, and then in the distance, which you may have trouble seeing on this lens, is a valley between several mounds, and there's a road running through that valley. There's a nice grove down at the bottom of the valley before you take the road up the hills. It looks like a mixture of green and yellow from here, where our close groves are quite golden yellow. I've done a few shots where I've eliminated the sky, and that helps me out since the polarizer isn't working well and the sky is not blue, it's just this flat white hazy cloud. So that may give me a chance to sharpen up the pictures and bring out the colors pretty well.
We sure hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give us a thumbs up.
We would love for you to subscribe, and that would help us out a great deal, and we appreciate everyone who has subscribed.
And as you may have noticed, we've started to add videos during the week as opposed to just our Sunday morning release. So if you want to know when we release videos, hit that little bell button down below.
And we love to hear from you, so feel free to put some comments or questions down below. We'll respond as soon as possible.
Take care, and bye for now.
Bye for now.